Welcome to the channel, folks. My name's Shane. In today's video, we're checking out a pair of the most functional LED video lights I've tested so far. These are the Pixel P80 RGB video lights. I've been using these panels a lot over the last few weeks, and they've really simplified my setup for the better. I'll explain why throughout this video. The Pixel P80 video light is a fully customizable LED panel that's great as an overhead light, fill light, hair light, or background RGB. Being that they cover so much ground makes them a great addition to any studio. Additionally, these lights can be set up using the hardware key panel on the back or via your Android or iOS smartphone app. The app connects via Bluetooth and has worked flawlessly as soon as I got connected. These LED panels are incredibly bright at their maximum output, but they can be scaled anywhere between 1% and 100% brightness. The P80 features 542 individual LED bulbs, 4,544 lumens of brightness, and a 97 CRI color accuracy rating. The rule of thumb with the color accuracy rating is that anything over 90 is considered very accurate. This video will cover everything you need to know about the Pixel P80 LED lights, from an unboxing, how to use them, and some practical lighting tests. Later in this video, I'm also going to replace my Softbox light that I'm currently using right now with one of the Pixel P80 so you can see how the look varies. And then we're also going to test out some of the built-in effects. Firstly, a massive thanks to the kind folks at Pixel for sending 2 of these panels out for this review. I really appreciate it. At the time of filming, the Pixel P80 comes in at $199 US. And after using these for the last few weeks, they're worth every cent, and I'll explain why. While I'm a huge fan of these lights and I really like what they have to offer, this will be a pros and cons review, and I'll cover that towards the end of the video. Timestamps to each section of this video will be in the description below. If this video is helpful, please leave a thumbs up. I'll link to these lights in the description so you can check them out in your part of the world. Let's get to the unboxing. First up, we get a power brick. This can work anywhere in the world thanks to its 110 to 240 volt operating range. My only small complaint is that the cable that connects the light is quite short, which leaves the power supply dangling if the light is up high. I solved this by getting some Velcro ties, and it's all sorted. Including the box, we get a power cable where one side will go into your wall socket and the other side out into the power brick. I received a US style cable, so it didn't actually work here in Australia. I ended up having to buy a couple off Amazon. They were only a couple of bucks, but I did pass that feedback onto Pixel. The LED panel itself is built extremely well. We get a mix of lightweight metal construction on the body and a heat sink on the side to help dissipate heat. The barn doors come pre-assembled straight out of the box, and they're easy to remove thanks to these latches on the top. I love that the diffuser is built into the panel rather than a separate piece. I've lost track of the number of times my GVM light diffuser has fallen out when the light is moved, and it's a real big pain. The frame, mounting points, and locking screws all feel really solid, and I have no complaints when it comes to the build quality. The LED screen is easy enough to see providing you're behind it, but the benefit is that you can just use your phone, which is a whole lot easier. The Pixel LED lights run silent, cool, and take up far less space in a room when you compare them against older softbox technology. Unlike some panels that run standard RGB, the Pixel P80 runs RGBW, which gives you a nicer effect at lower saturation levels. The Pixel P80 weighs 1.45 kilos or 3.2 pounds, and due to the compact size and weight, this is a much easier unit to move around than the standard softbox. When it comes to your standard lighting modes, these will allow you to go from 2500 Kelvin on the warm side to 10,000 Kelvin on the cool side. The standard daylight temperature is between 5000 and 5500 Kelvin, and that's what I use for the most part here in the studio and also in my other studio. If you're new to setting up lighting, start there and adjust your camera's white balance, and you should get some really great results. Let's take a look at some of the hardware keys built directly onto the back panel of the unit. One of my favorite features here is this 25% button. If we hit it once, it goes to 1%. I know that sounds a little bit strange, but if we hit it again, it goes to 25%. So we can just have it on, or it will ramp up to 25% power. And as you can see, it's far brighter behind me right here on the wall. Hit it again, it goes to 50, 75, and 100%. If we hit it again, it drops back to 0. So this is a really great way of just getting the light almost right. And then you can fine tune it using these keys over here. Say for example, we get it set to 25%, but that's a little bit too bright. We can simply use this left button here and drop it down in 1% increments, or we can go the opposite way, of course, and bring it back up. If we hold it down, it cycles up or down nice and fast. To change the color temperature, all we need to do is go into the CCT option here, and this will allow us to go left and right to change the type of light. If we go up to the higher range, it becomes more of a cool or blue light. If we go this way, it becomes a much warmer light. So it's up to you where you like it set. For me, in this studio, 5000K works pretty well. We can also change the hue of the lamp by using this option down here, this M and G. If we push it to the right, it's going to have a bit more of a green tint. If we bring it to the left, the hue is going to go more towards red. This can help in situations where you might need to match this lamp with another or help cancel out the hue of another light. If these are the only lights you have, just leave it set to 0, you won't have any color issues. By hitting either one of these two mode buttons, it brings us into the RGB mode. And for this, rather than just doing everything on the back panel, I'm going to break out my mobile phone. The Pixel LCS app really makes controlling each of these P80 lights extremely easy. Whether you've just got one or you've got multiples in a room, you can set up groups and control them, turn them on and off, and label them accordingly thanks to the Bluetooth connectivity. Now, the great thing is if I want to add another light, I've actually got two of these, one's in my other studio. If I hit the plus, it will find the devices in the area and show me the ones that aren't currently connected. It's that simple. Unlike using Wi-Fi networks, which will get you off your home network and all that kind of stuff, Bluetooth connectivity is the way to go. Now, the great news is if we go down to the bottom of the app here, you can see that it says dimming. If we click on this, we can instantly change CCT lighting modes. Notice though, there's a list of options across the top. We'll get to those in just a minute. But we can click on 3200. It will change the color temperature of the lamp, 4000, 5600, or we can just drag the slider around on this particular U-shaped thing on the top here, which allows us to just completely change the color temperature of the lamp at the touch of a button. This is really great. We can also change the brightness just by using the slider at the bottom. These are really bright lamps. This is at 6% right now. And as you can see my hand here. If I get it to 50% or thereabouts, it's going to be completely overexposing my hand. This is much brighter than it may be showing on camera right now, and all the way up to 100. So yeah, wow, it throws a lot of light. It's really cool. I think the fun of this light really comes from the RGBW option. Now you get two different ways you can cycle through the colors. There's a color field option, or you can tap on sliders and use them that way. So for example, if I bring this dot on screen down towards the bottom, it's going to be a much more saturated color, whether that's green, or if I go over to blue, or some sort of red color over here. You get the idea, right? It's very functional. If I bring it up, it's going to be less saturated. If we go over to sliders, we can customize the colors a little bit more independently if we do need something, or we can also add our numbers through the input value option here, but that might get a bit too complicated for people. So you can just use these sliders to get the kind of look that you want. If you want no green in the shot, you can do that. Want no blue, you can just simply move these sliders around. The HSI color option really makes picking a color the easiest, at least in my experience here. So we can go up and pick green, and this will be the most saturated out towards the edge. As we go through the blue, you can see the color of the light changing through the pinks, red, orange, yellow, and greens. Nice and simple. Again, if you go towards the center, the color is going to be less prominent. Now, if you swipe to the right here, you can also multi-select lights. So if you've got more than one attached to your app or group, you can then have them both change at the same time. This is extremely powerful. There's also another color option called Gel, which allows you to cycle through each of the color presets within this area. Same thing again, touch the one that you like and you're good to go. And then you can change the intensity level with the slider at the bottom. Let's say, for example, I want to get this light to look very similar to another light in the room and I don't know the color temperature. We can go over to the camera option right here, and I can just point it at this little light and click obtain, and boom, the light is then matched. If I go up to my softbox and hit obtain, then the light will adjust accordingly. Super cool. All right, let's go over to the 10 effects that are built into this light. This is great if you're a filmmaker or if you just want to add some color to your set or studio. So right now I'm going to start on lightning 1. I've used this effect on a short film on a different lamp, and these look really convincing, especially if they're set up right in the room. So that's lightning 1. Lightning 2, very similar effect, just a different style of lightning. We go over to cinema. This particular light will kind of adjust slightly. You can see it kind of moving around on my backdrop just there. It's quite nice. Go over to police. There we go. So blue, red, and possibly, yeah, just blue and red, I think, possibly are the colors that are in that. So that looks really cool. Ambulance, all blue lights flashing. We've also got fire engine, which is a red light flashing. We got RGB1. Say, for example, you're having a party or something, you just want to add a rotating RGB color onto the wall. There you go. That's how that looks. Looks really good. RGB2. This cycles through a little bit on the slower side, I think, from what I can see it does. SOS, blinking clear light, and candlelight. Now, all of these can still be adjusted just using the intensity level here. So, for example, if I wanted the police light not to be going, you know, at 100% like this, which is full on, I could bring this down to, say, let's bring it to 10%. And now it's not as intense. So depending on your particular set or scene, you can adjust it accordingly. Up next, I'm going to switch over from my standard softbox light to the Pixel P80. So my primary light in this room will now be this, and I'll do a split side-by-side comparison so you can see the difference. And now I'm over to the Pixel P80 running at 27% output. So there's plenty more headroom with this lamp in terms of power. And I've got it set to 5,000 Kelvin. I haven't changed the white balance on my camera because that was already set to 5,000 Kelvin on my softbox. So we're going to see whether or not there's a massive difference on this side-by-side comparison. And now what I'm going to do is just show you the different kinds of output power that this is capable of. While this room isn't that big, if you've got a much bigger room than this, it will work no problems at all. So I'm just going to bring this down to 11%. If you like more moody lighting, I could bring it in and sort of light half of my face like all the hipster YouTubers do. Or I could bring it up to 71%. Woo! It's very, very bright. So yeah, there's plenty of headroom in this lamp to light even much bigger rooms. So at 20% or so, it's plenty fine for this particular studio. Thanks for watching, folks. My name's Shane. I'm going to give you my thoughts about the Pixel P80s, talking about the pros and cons. So overall, these lights are fantastic, and they've completely rendered my old softboxes obsolete. These are smaller, lighter, more portable, and everything about them just makes them far easier for transport if I do need to move them. I like being able to walk into a room, tap on a button on my phone, they turn on. That's awesome. And in my guitar studio, I've been using these now for quite some time, and the functionality and overall lighting quality is fantastic. The build quality of these lights are exceptional. The only small complaint I have about them is that the length of the power cable from the brick to the unit is just a little bit too small. But with that aside, you can easily get around it just by buying some Velcro like this and tying it up around the lighting stand. That's how I ended up getting around that. A few days before shooting this video, I did a live recording in another area of my house here with my band, and the great news was these were more than capable of lighting up a room, even with some natural light bleeding in. 25% on these is far brighter than you might think. If you've had some experience with lackluster LED lights before, these are on a whole different level. The build quality is great, the output is fantastic, and the RGB modes are really something special. And lastly, I'm a huge fan of having the diffuser built directly into the LED light instead of having it fall out every time I move one around. Anytime you're using LED lights without diffusers, I find them, for my particular use case, unusable, but this is the first LED light like it where I could just leave it and forget it, and it works just as well as my softbox. A massive thanks to the kind folks from Pixel for sending these out for the review. I really appreciate it. If you want to check them out, links will be below. Let us know if you have any comments or questions. Let us know whether you could see a massive difference between this and my old softbox. Softboxes do the job, and they're far more affordable, but if you can spend a little bit more money, these are a much more capable light. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon. See ya.